There's a very specific kind of silence that rearranges a woman's entire nervous system, and almost no one talks about it. It is not the silence of absence. It is not the silence of rejection. It is the silence of a man who is fully aware of her, fully capable of reaching for her, and consciously choosing not to. That silence is louder than any pursuit ever performed because it forces her into a room she usually avoids, a room where she has to sit alone with her own perception of herself, her own emotional patterns, and the unsettling realization that the dynamic she is used to controlling is no longer responding to her usual signals. And before I take you deeper into what actually unfolds inside her mind in those moments, take a second to subscribe to this channel, because what I am about to share is the kind of psychological insight that will quietly reshape the way you understand attraction, emotional power, and human behavior for the rest of your life. The first thing that happens when there is no chase is a subtle disorientation. Most women, whether they admit it or not, navigate early connection through a familiar internal map. There is an expectation of attention, an expectation of effort, an expectation of being the emotional center of someone's curiosity. When that expectation is not met, the mind does not immediately interpret it as disinterest. The mind interprets it as a pattern break. And a pattern break is one of the most powerful psychological events a human being can experience, because the brain is wired to resolve incomplete loops. Suddenly, instead of the situation occupying a small, predictable corner of her awareness, it begins to expand. It begins to take up more space. She starts to think about it in moments she did not plan to think about it. While making coffee, while driving, while trying to fall asleep. The absence of pursuit becomes its own form of presence, and that presence is far more haunting than any message ever sent. What most people misunderstand is that attraction is not built through attention. Attraction is built through emotional investment, and emotional investment requires the mind to do work. When everything is offered too quickly, too predictably, too eagerly, there is nothing for her psyche to wrestle with, nothing for her imagination to fill in, nothing for her curiosity to chase. But when there is restraint, when there is groundedness, when there is a clear sense that someone has a life, a center, a world that does not orbit around her reactions, her mind is forced to engage at a much deeper level. She begins to wonder, and wondering is the seed of obsession. Wondering is where desire actually lives. The woman who is constantly pursued becomes emotionally passive. The woman who is left to her own internal questioning becomes emotionally active. And an emotionally active mind is a mind that is slowly, quietly falling. There is also something deeply primal that activates in her when there is no chase, something most people are too afraid to name. A woman is highly attuned to perceived value, not surface value, not material value, perceived emotional and psychological value, and the human brain calculates value largely through scarcity, restraint, and self-possession. When a man is overly available, overly eager, overly transparent in his interest, the unconscious calculation drops, regardless of how attractive or accomplished he is on paper. But when there is a quiet self-containment, when there is a sense that his attention is not a guarantee but a choice, her perception shifts. She begins to ask herself questions she did not plan to ask. Why is he not reacting the way others have? Why does he seem unaffected? What is he thinking? What is he not telling me? And every single one of those questions is an emotional deposit into the account of attraction, an account she did not even realize she was opening. Then comes the part that almost no one explains correctly. When there is no chase, a woman begins to confront her own emotional patterns, often for the first time. She has likely spent years being the one who is pursued, the one who decides, the one who grants or withholds access. That role gives her a sense of control, but it also keeps her emotionally shallow in many of her connections because she never has to risk anything. She never has to step toward. She never has to feel the vulnerability of wondering. The moment that dynamic is reversed, even slightly, her entire emotional architecture is challenged, and what she feels in that moment is not rejection. What she feels is aliveness. A strange, uncomfortable, magnetic aliveness that she cannot quite explain, but cannot stop returning to. Because somewhere underneath all the conditioning, all the performance, all the rehearsed dynamics, what she has always wanted is to feel something real. And realness only emerges when the predictable script collapses. This is also the point where her perception begins a quiet, almost invisible transformation. She starts to notice things she would not have noticed otherwise. The way his presence does not shift when she enters a room. The way his mood is not dictated by her responsiveness. The way his sense of self seems to exist independently of her validation. And these observations do something fascinating to her psyche. They begin to translate on an unconscious level into a sense of safety she did not know she was missing. Because a man who does not need her approval to feel grounded is, paradoxically, the only kind of man whose approval begins to feel meaningful to her. Value is determined by what cannot be easily obtained, and emotional value is no exception. The less reactive he is, the more her mind treats his eventual attention as a rare and significant event, rather than a default condition. And while this is happening, something else is unfolding beneath the surface, something she will rarely articulate even to herself. She begins to imagine. Imagination is the most underestimated force in human attraction. When there is no constant flood of contact filling the space, her mind starts to construct, to wonder, to project, to romanticize. She imagines what he is doing. She imagines what he thinks of her. She imagines conversations that have not happened. She replays small moments and assigns them new meaning. This is the exact psychological terrain where infatuation is born, not in the presence of overwhelming attention, but in the presence of meaningful absence. The mind does not fall for what is given. The mind falls for what it has to reach toward. And before we go further into the deeper layers of this, take a moment to subscribe, because the next part is where most people completely lose the plot, and I want you to be there for it. There is a particular emotional shift that occurs once the initial disorientation settles. She moves from confusion into a quieter, more reflective state. She starts to evaluate herself, not in a self-critical way, but in an introspective way. She begins to wonder if her usual methods of capturing attention are not working because he is different, or because she is being seen more clearly than she is used to. This is an uncomfortable thought for any woman who has built her sense of relational identity on being desired, and discomfort, when it is not paired with rejection, becomes one of the most powerful drivers of attraction in the human psyche. Because she is not being pushed away, she is simply not being chased. And that distinction is everything. Being pushed away closes the loop. Not being chased keeps the loop wide open, suspended, unresolved, alive. In that suspension, respect begins to form. And this is something almost no one talks about with the depth it deserves. Respect is not a soft emotion. Respect is the precondition of lasting desire. A woman cannot deeply desire someone she does not respect, and respect cannot exist where there is no self-containment. When a man reveals through his behavior that his life does not bend around her reactions, that his peace is not dependent on her response time, that his identity is not negotiated through her attention, something inside her quietly straightens. She begins to take him seriously in a way she does not take most people seriously. And once a woman takes someone seriously in that particular way, her emotional involvement deepens at a rate that even she cannot fully track. What also happens, and this is one of the most overlooked dynamics, is that she begins to fear losing access. Not in an anxious, desperate way, but in a subtle, background way. When something feels abundant, the mind discounts it. When something feels finite, the mind values it. Self-respect, when expressed through behavior rather than declared through words, communicates finiteness. It communicates that this presence is not a permanent fixture in her life unless she actively participates in keeping it there. And the moment a woman feels that she has to participate, that she has to invest, that she has to show up rather than simply receive, the entire emotional weight of the dynamic shifts onto her side of the scale. She is no longer the prize being pursued. She is the participant choosing to lean in. And leaning in, by its very nature, creates attachment. There is also a deeply intimate layer to this that rarely gets discussed. When there is no chase, a woman gets to experience something that constant pursuit actually robs her of, which is the genuine sensation of choosing. Most women have been chosen many times. Few women have truly chosen. And the act of choosing, of moving toward, of investing without guarantee is one of the most emotionally transformative experiences a human being can have. It activates parts of her she has kept dormant. It awakens a kind of feminine agency that performative attention always suppresses. And the man, or rather the presence, that allows her to access that part of herself becomes unforgettable, not because of what he did, but because of who she became in his orbit. And then there is the silence she has with herself in the quiet hours, the silence where all of this crystallizes. She lies awake and notices that she is thinking about someone who is not actively trying to occupy her mind, and that observation itself becomes a kind of revelation. She realizes that the people who tried hardest to stay in her thoughts were the easiest to forget. And the one who made no effort to colonize her attention is the one she cannot stop returning to. That realization is uncomfortable because it contradicts everything she was taught to expect, and yet it is undeniable. The mind cannot lie to itself in the dark. And in that honesty, something irreversible happens. A door opens that cannot be closed by logic, by pride, or by distraction. And if you are still with me, take one more moment to subscribe, because what I want to leave you with is the part that will stay in your mind long after this script ends. The deepest truth of all of this is that the absence of chasing is not a tactic. It is not a strategy. It is not a manipulation. It is a revelation of character. A woman can feel with almost supernatural accuracy the difference between someone who is performing restraint and someone who is genuinely self-possessed. Performance creates distance. Authentic self-containment creates gravity. And gravity is the force that, without ever announcing itself, slowly pulls everything in its vicinity into orbit. She does not fall for the strategy. She falls for the soul behind it. She falls for the presence that does not need her in order to be whole, because that is the only kind of presence her deepest self has ever truly longed for. And once she feels that gravity, once she steps into that orbit, the question is no longer whether she is thinking about him. The question becomes something far more dangerous, far more intimate, far more difficult to put into words, a question she will turn over in her mind again and again without ever fully